Hi, it's Sarah Taylor. I'm just putting this video together because I put a clip at the end of a video recently where I was washing some paint drippings down the drain. And I do that sometimes with a little bit of paint, but I wanted to do kind of a revision on the best way to clean up after you do a painting. So what I'm doing right now here, that in that plastic jug is just leftover paint that I scraped off the plastic that I was using when I created a painting. So I take all the leftover paint, scrape it up, and then I strain it into these nice jars. And whether or not I plan to use the paint or not, this is what I do. Some of it does get reused, most of it really, and if it sits around for a long time, and I'm just squirting some water in there just to get the rest of it to drain through. So, if it's been sitting around for a long time, you can take it to the dump, and there's a paint disposal area where they can dispose of it properly so it doesn't go into the groundwater and things like that. And you really do want to avoid putting acrylic paint down your drain. I know it's hard. I struggle with it because especially if I have 20 empty things to clean and I just did a huge painting, it's really hard to not just wash everything out. So I'm taking my plate and, my dirty tools. I'm going to wipe the lid or wipe the rim of my jar. So always wipe your rims before you put your lids on so the lid comes off when you go to use it. I'll put that aside. So now I'm going to take you through my studio and then back into my kitchen area where I clean all of my tools and keep everything tidy. The biggest trick here is, to use paint water. So in the sink there, I have a 5-gallon or I think it's like a 2-gallon, I'm not sure. It's a 4-quart thing from Home Depot. And that's my sediment. That's my paint water. So I take my tools that I've been using, my strainer, and I rinse it off in there and get as much of that paint water off as I can. And I do that with everything I've been using, just get it down in there. I have a scrub brush that's just for the paint sediment. Now I'm going to add a little more water into that. And the trick here is to use as little water as possible, but enough water to get things cleaned off. We're not going to get 100% of the paint off doing this, but we're going to get 95% of it off, and that's a lot better than putting all of it down the drain. Rinse it off just a little bit here. So, the idea here is to create a paint water bucket. And then at the end of this, just rinsing my tools off. And then you can take this and I'm going to transfer it into a 5-gallon bucket that's on the floor. And then the bucket can sit there you can put a fan on it to get the paint to get it to evaporate faster, but it will sit there. You can actually also take a lid and cut the inside of the lid out and put like pantyhose over the lid to make a mesh lid for it so nothing falls into your bucket. And then see a little bit, splashed out, a little bit goes down the drain, but that's, a little bit is... There's this old saying, dilute, don't pollute. So, a little bit going down the drain with water is okay. But we want to keep it as minimal as possible. So now I'm over here and I'm going to go ahead and rinse off the rest of whatever's left and put it on my dry rack. If you're somewhere where there's drought and you don't want to use as much water, just put a stopper in and fill your sink up and rinse everything off that way. I just had a few tools here, so getting the rest of the paint water off of there. And, there's probably methods where you put 0 down the drain. I'm not there yet, but this is a huge start. So now I'm taking it over to where I have this big bucket, and this is a new one. My other one is actually I have another one in the closet there. And we're going to transfer it in here. And then that's where you can put a big mesh lid on top of that in case you don't want anything falling in. And now once the paint dries, you can do layers and layers and layers and layers of paint in there, and it'll just peel right off the bottom of the bucket when it's dry, and you can throw it away. I hope this is helpful, guys, and have a beautiful day. All right, bye.